Hello, once again, this is Antonio, and I'm coming at you with another exciting video. Now, in this video, this is a veteran. He's dealing with an addiction. He was driving under an influence, and the prosecutors definitely want to put him in jail. His defendant, his lawyer, definitely wants to try to save him. Let's see how it turns out. Um, they really don't want to put him in jail, but he got to fight this addiction. So, nevertheless, this is not going to be a rah type of case, just to be honest. This is going to be a case where you're going to see two sides of the owl, how they're going to deal with the defendant. So, nevertheless, let's dive into the video. Thank you for all my new subscribers. We are definitely on the road to 10,000, so don't hesitate to subscribe.
All right, Mr. Urquhart is on the screen and we are ready to proceed. This is case number 214532301, the people of the state of Michigan versus Gerald Samuel Urquhart. The defendant is charged with operating while intoxicated, and today is the date set for sentencing. Appearances, please.
May it please the court, Your Honor, Victor Bowman, P33764, for the people.
And for the record, Your Honor, Janice Stevenson appearing on behalf of Mr. Gerald Urquhart. Mr. Urquhart, sir, please say your first, middle, and last names.
Gerald Samuel Urquhart.
Okay,
Your Honor, Kenneth Yancey on behalf of Specialty Court, Your Honor.
thank you. I feel like, is Mr. Everett I'm focusing my attention to the waiting room. Is Mr. Everett a lawyer? Okay. I feel like that name sounds familiar. Mr. Flanagan, look into that for me. Okay, today is the day set for sentencing, and I don't remember. Let me just start out by saying I don't remember Mr. Urquhart, but you all told me that I had adjourned it so he could talk to Veterans Court, and maybe I just did that because they were either at that training where did they go? They went somewhere for training or the graduation. One of the two, people weren't available. So then we came back today. So with respect to Mr. Urquhart, first, as to the pre-sentence investigation report, are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to that report on behalf of the people?
We have a different recommendation as to potential sentence, Your Honor.
All right, I'm not asking about sentencing yet. I'm asking about, are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the report?
No.
All right, and then on behalf of the people, any additions, deletions, or corrections on behalf of the defense? Excuse me, Ms. Stevenson, don't say nothing about me calling you the people. Any additions, deletions, or corrections?
Yes, Your Honor. On behalf of Mr. Urquhart, we have had the opportunity to review the pre-sentence investigation report, Your Honor. And we would offer the following correction, Your Honor. On page 6, in the substance abuse treatment section, the language below that, the comment section, it says that the defendant indicated he's been attending online Alcoholics Anonymous meetings every Tuesday and Thursday. And that actually, the correction is that he's in a substance abuse counseling program through the Veterans Administration. And so it's not just Alcoholics Anonymous, it's an actual substance abuse counseling program, and it needs hybrid. So sometimes he's in person and sometimes he's on online.
Okay.
Other than that, Your Honor, so in the military service, Your Honor, well, that's not a correction. And then on the face sheet where there is mention of the pending charge out of 45th District Court. That matter is not in warrant status. There was actually a court date on June 26th, and it was actually out of warrant status at our last court hearing. So other than that, we have no additions, deletions, or corrections, and Mr. Urquhart does stand ready for sentencing.
All right. So before I hear from the attorneys with respect to sentencing, Mr. Yancey, apparently we found out, or I was aware at the time of the last sentencing date, which was June 13th, that Mr. Urquhart was a veteran. And so I asked for you all to come in and speak to him. So before I hear from the lawyers, and I will note just for the record that on page 2, well, the official page 2, but it's not the second page. It's really page 4, but I think they just, number the ones that are in the packet. Nonetheless, on page, the page labeled 2, that's the probation recommendation. They didn't indicate any recommendation to a specialty court. And so I'm also going to note that just by virtue of me engaging Veterans Court, if I send Mr. Urquhart to Veterans Court, then we all know that it wouldn't be 12 months, it would be 14 months. And I'm hopeful that you spoke to him about that. But Mr. Yancey, let me hear from you. Let me hear your report.
Yes, Your Honor. Kenneth Yancey on behalf of Specialty Court. Your Honor, I did interview Mr. Urquhart, and I did review his record, and I was privy that he does have a upcoming pending date.
Hold on. Let me just say this to you.
Okay.
I apologize. So I remember why I said all this time. So now I remember when I looked at his criminal history. So I remember that. And I don't know if specialty court has had an opportunity to already meet about Mr. Urquhart. But now that I look at his criminal history, now I'm reminded of why I put some space and time in here. Go ahead, Mr. Yancey.
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor. So I did review briefly with my supervisor, Mr. Urquhart's record. I wasn't able to review it in staffing with the judge.
Okay.
That said, I have talked to Mr. Urquhart. I did explain to him this court's Veterans Court, and if he was referred to our court, he would to specialty court, that he would be in Veterans Court. So though I believe he would qualify, I probably need to run it by our judge. But other than that, we've talked extensively. I've got information from him, and that's the only thing that we have pending on our end.
Okay. So you think he would qualify, notwithstanding his criminal history?
I believe so. I just probably should.
I know that Judge Holmes is adamant about taking every case on a case-by-case basis, and that it doesn't necessarily, the label of the charge is not her determining factor. So I do know that she's made that clear, and that she wants to, she looks at more of the facts and circumstances of those cases. So if you think he's eligible, I'm going to take that into consideration. But when will you all staff as it relates to Veterans Court so that you can ask the judge?
Today.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. Thank you. So thank you. Now let me ask you this. If I decide that I do want to send him to Veterans Court, And then, so you all are staffing today. When should I have them come back to know an answer? Because this is a short week, and then I'm off next week though. Would it be possible if I want to send them a short turnaround, like Wednesday, or after I come back off?
I can. Will you be here tomorrow?
I'll be here tomorrow. Yes.
I can tell you by tomorrow if we accept him, or even potentially the end of the day. But I would say tomorrow I'll know
Okay.
if he qualifies, and then if he does, and you want him in our Veterans Court, then I can tell you yes and give you a date all tomorrow.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Yancey. So
Yes.
I appreciate your report. Thank you. Okay, now with respect to sentencing on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, Victor Bowman for the people. The court has hit the nail right on their head. We must take into account Mr. Yancey's extensive prior criminal history.
You mean Mr. Urquhart?
Excuse me, Mr. Urquhart, thank you.
Mhm.
Since 2007, his criminal history includes assaultive crimes, includes driving without a valid driver's license, includes driving with a suspended license. And we've already talked about the fact that we still have this pending charge, which is a high BAC. High BAC was one of the original charges that were dismissed in this case. As it relates to this case, when he was stopped, he blew basically being double drunk. So in addition to being a safety concern for himself, more importantly, he is a safety concern for the people. Your Honor, I do take into account that this man has served in the military, but when we weigh the entire scales of justice, I don't think that the scales of justice should over tip in his behalf because he did military service. Your Honor, our recommendation is more than for 12 months recommendation. Our recommendation is this man should go to jail for 30 days based upon the high blood alcohol content that he continues to drive without valid driver's license. He is a threat to everybody else who is driving legally as he continues to drive illegally, and then he continues to drive impaired.
Okay. Ms. Stevenson?
Thank you, Your Honor. So I am asking the court to follow the probation department's recommendation, who, has also had an opportunity to interact with Mr. Urquhart and had an opportunity to do the pre-sentence investigation interview, had an opportunity to sit and talk with Mr. Urquhart, the person, the probation department, who absolutely understands that, the motoring public and the rest of us all need to be safe when we're out there on the road. But they've had an opportunity to assess whether or not Mr. Urquhart could be rehabilitated by a term of probation. And they've come back, having had the opportunity to look at the police report, investigators report, and everything else. They came back with a recommendation lower than that which the court has already said it would impose if we were sentencing Mr. Urquhart to a term of probation. So I am going to ask the court to go ahead and allow Mr. Urquhart to continue his course of rehabilitation that he's already started with the Veterans Administration. He has a substance abuse issue. And I guess a lot of people who served, combat veteran from Iraq and Kuwait, I guess a lot of people might have substance abuse issues. But Mr. Urquhart is doing what he knows to do to put that behind him. And I'm thanking him for his service and asking the court to give him an opportunity to do that. Even prior to this, he's gotten with the VA, he's availing himself of those services. And I'm asking the court to let him continue on with his journey toward maintaining sobriety and making sure that he and everybody else around him is safe. So I'd ask the court to let him go to Veterans Court if they accept him. And if not, that we revisit that when and if that's necessary.
Mr. Urquhart, would you like to make a statement on your own behalf?
Yes. I'm in so many different classes with the VA. I've attended the classes every week. Just keeping my sobriety. I have a license. Like I have a daughter, taking care of my daughter. Getting my health back in order. You know, I have like a lot of health issues. You know, just keeping up with my appointments with the VA and just taking everything a day at a time. You know, I'm not doing nothing bad out here or whatever, but I'm just want to I want to put this behind me. You know, I want to move forward in life, in a safe manner, and that's pretty much it, really.
All right.
May I, Your Honor?
Briefly.
He doesn't get it. He said that he really didn't do anything bad. He was driving double drunk. This could have been a lot worse for him and, more importantly, society. And if his statement is that he didn't get it, he needs a little better reflection that, you know, if this is a misdemeanor charge, there are no higher misdemeanor charges than drunk driving offenses. And I know that the court is very aware if the court takes no real action as it relates to a drunk driving offense and the person repeats, injures somebody else, and more importantly, one of the public, and the first thing they're going to find out or they're going to report is that he was let out on probation and went back to drinking and driving.
May I, Your Honor?
Now, let me tell y'all what we're not going to do on my record. Go back and forth. So I know that this is a new day. We starting new and, you know, everybody don't quite understand the process. I'm going to let you, but let me just be clear about this. This is how the sentencings are going to go. The people are going to go. The defense is going to go. The defendant is going to go. And then the judge is going to go. This is the last time we're going to do that. Ms. Stevenson?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just would take exception to what Mr. Bowman has indicated. Mr. Urquhart said he's not out here doing anything bad. This incident is alleged is from that he's pled guilty to and accepted responsibility for is from 2020. So I think that we have ample evidence to indicate that Mr. Urquhart does get it. He didn't say that he didn't do anything bad. He pled guilty to drunk driving. That's very bad, and he accepted responsibility for that. So he's not saying that he didn't do anything illegal. He knows he did, and that's why he pled guilty. He said he's not doing anything out here, meaning that he has availed himself of the services that have been made available to him so that he can make this right. And he's moving forward, and we are safer because of the decisions that he's making right now.
All right. The court has had an opportunity to review the pre-sentence report, and I'm ready to impose sentence. Well, I'm not ready to impose sentence. So actually, I should say it like that. I'm not ready to impose sentence. So, Mr. Urquhart, your resume is horrible. In terms of your criminal history, your resume is horrible. But of course, I disagree with the people that 30 days in the Wayne County Jail is going to do anything. Also, you know, we know that I could care less what the media says. And if I let somebody off on probation and then they go murder somebody, I don't care about that. At the time that I put them on probation, whatever the situation that I thought it was, is the situation that I'm sentencing. And the other thing is I'm never going to be, I'm never going to treat a misdemeanor like a felony. I'm not ever. But Mr. Urquhart, you have some issues that I believe you need to address. And I believe that the Veterans Court is the best place for you to address them, because putting Mr. Urquhart on probation, on a regular probation, where the probation officers may or may not even meet with the person on a monthly basis. So let's be honest about that. The probation department may or may not meet with the people on a monthly basis. I have rarely gotten a violation from probation that says the people not meeting with me. It's usually 6 months in when probation says, well, they didn't even come meet with me. Well, that's ridiculous, because you should have told me that on the 3rd month when they missed their appointment, or on the 2nd month. Nonetheless, Mr. Urquhart, you have issues that, number one, let me just say a couple of things. We do appreciate your service, your military service. We appreciate every vet that would dare put their life on the line for the country, as well as all first responders. But having said that, you cannot use that as an excuse for bad behavior. So you can't use military service as an excuse for bad behavior. Nor do I believe that you can use substance abuse issues as excuses for such bad behavior. So you have some hurdles to climb. But one thing I believe is that Judge Shannon A. Holmes is probably the best place for you to go to climb those hurdles. She is tough on crime and compassionate on people. You hear what I say? Okay. So she's tough on crime and compassionate on people. And that's how we have to do. One of my favorite quotes on one of the people that I've never met him personally, but I've always admired him and the work that he does. And that's Brian Stevenson, who does work with death row inmates. And he says about those death row inmates that everybody is better than the worst thing we've ever done. So we're all redeemable, and we're better than the worst thing we've ever done. Now that doesn't mean that just because you're better than the worst thing you have done, you don't deserve to be in jail, right? You don't deserve to be in jail. But a person who has, number one, already, had the record that you have, I think that it would benefit us to give you an opportunity. And then I will also note, because as Mr. Yancey was talking, I looked closer at my notes. Oh, not my notes, but the probation department's criminal history. And that last case, that last July 2022, that was dismissed. I was looking at it, and the case, the main part of the case that I thought would prevent him from going to the special court, that was actually dismissed, as was the aggravated domestic violence. Now he still has the 2021 case that I think, well, those were also eventually dismissed. They were nolly-prossed. So that's why I thought he might not be eligible. But in looking at it more closely, those cases were dismissed. So he probably is eligible. So Mr. Urquhart, I know Mr. Yancey described the program to you. And you may or may not even have seen or heard Judge Holmes, but sometimes she tricked people be tricked and think she's soft and stuff. But let me just say this: if birds of a feather, this is what they tell me in the world. They say birds of a feather flock, and we've been flocking together for 20-something years. Know that. Birds of a feather flock. almost 30 years. We've been flocking together for almost 30 years. So long before we got on the bench, we've been flocking together. So know that if somebody's saying I'm tough, know that I ain't flocking with no weak or pushover person, right? Okay. So her program is phenomenal. I want to give them an opportunity to tell me if you qualify.
Okay.
Mr. Yancey says he could tell me that by tomorrow, by really today. So I'm going to have you come back to see me Wednesday. And if they accept you into Veterans Court, then that is going to be the sentence of the court. But because also, like I said, it won't be 12 months probation though.
Okay.
Okay. For her program, she needs a minimum, listen to what I said, a minimum of 14 months. And then she moves in, if you need some extra help or whatever, that would be her business. But as a veteran, I think you deserve to be, at least, get an opportunity for Veterans Treatment Court so that you don't repeat your behavior. Because Mr. Urquhart, it's not good behavior. It's not good behavior. And I agree with the people when they say that drinking and driving is one of the worst misdemeanors. It in fact is. I believe, so listen to me, Mr. Urquhart. I believe that drinking and driving should be a felony.
Mhm.
Your first time drinking, I believe it should be a felony. The legislatures don't agree with me. And so I'm the judge, and the legislatures don't agree with me. So they make it a misdemeanor. Since they make it a misdemeanor, I'm gonna treat it like a misdemeanor. Right? So I don't try to be the legislature. Since they make it a misdemeanor, I'm going to treat it like misdemeanor. But don't think for 1 second that we don't take it serious. That's why I'm trying to get you some help in Veterans Court instead of just putting you in jail for a minute. Okay? You
Okay.
get me? All right.
Yeah.
Know that if you don't succeed in Veterans Court, the way that it works is that if she has to kick you out, you come back to me. Now, let me say that too, Mr. Urquhart. Anybody that gets kicked out of the specialty court, then I do put you in jail usually. I'm really going to be upfront with you, because what I know about the specialty court is that Judge Holmes is going to give you I'm getting ready to exaggerate, but they're going to give you like 1,000,000 chances. So by the time she kick you out, I know you really messed up. And so then she's going to send you back to me. All right. So let's come back Wednesday. We're going to put Mr. Urquhart back on the docket Wednesday. And then Mr. Yancey is going to let us know if he's been accepted in Veterans Court. And then if not, then I'm gonna sentence you. I might entertain a little bit of more argument, but then I'll sentence you regular. But let's see if you can do Veterans Court.
Okay.
All right. Then we're going to adjourn till Wednesday at 9 a.m.
All right. Like I said in the beginning, this wasn't a rah-rah case, but they did their very best to look out for him because I never had that type of addiction, but people that struggle with addictions, it's a tough road to recovery. So, nevertheless, this is Antonio of Team Tiggio. Please like, comment, subscribe as we'll be coming to you more videos in the future. And once again, we'll see the next video.